Hey, Dan Passarelli here. Today I want to talk about ratio call writing. Now, this is something that comes up time to time on podcasts that I'm on, or if I'm having a discussion at a conference or something like that. There's a number of people who engage in what is called ratio call writing, and it makes sense in some circumstances, but in others it doesn't. So I want to share with you how that all works so that you have a better understanding of it. So when we talk about call writing, typically we're talking about covered calls. I mean, yes, that could mean a naked call, but generally we're talking about owning a stock and then selling a call. That's a covered call. Writing in the options nomenclature just means I'm selling it. But ratio call writing means I own the stock, but I'm selling more calls. Because with a covered call, if I own 100 shares, I sell one call. But with a ratio call writing, if I own 100 shares, I might sell two calls, could even consider selling three calls. Now, why would that make sense? Well, I'll tell you, for me, a lot of the times it doesn't, because I don't like being what's called short units. Unless, of course, it's a cash secured put on a stock that I want to get assigned and buy. Getting short units to the upside can have some pretty serious drawbacks. Let's take a look at how this might work. So this is Apple stock. If I were to engage in a ratio call writing in Apple stock, I might do something like this. I might buy 100 shares. We'll analyze a buy trade of 100 shares down here. And then sell, maybe the 255 calls. Now, I'd want to have a pretty good degree of confidence that Apple's unlikely to rise above there. So I'd want to see some very strong resistance and or maybe a declining RSI or something like that. So, okay, let's add these. Oops. Hit the wrong button. Analyze a sell trade, single, and that's a 10 lot. So let's make that a 2 lot. So owning 100 shares and selling short 2 calls. If we go to risk profile, look at what we have here. Instead of like a covered call type P&L diagram where the stock goes up and then levels off when it hits the call strike, because we're short an extra unit than we should be, that one call is not covered. It's really like a covered call and a naked call. Or if you can imagine this by looking at this P&L diagram, really what it is synthetically a short straddle. So once we get above the double ratioed short call strike, we actually start losing from that point. We have a maximum profit potential, and that's the benefit, is that our maximum profit potential is a little bigger because instead of selling just one call at 110, we're selling 2 calls at 110. So instead of taking in about 0.5%, we're taking in closer to a full percent. But what I don't like about it is that once the stock gets so high, we can actually end up with a loss. It's being short like 100 deltas once both of the short calls are so far in the money. So that's what ratio call writing is. Most of the time I don't like it because of that naked short call that you have. The only times I would like it are situations where there's some reason to believe that there's an extremely small chance of the stock going up through the break even up here. And, notice that is sort of a ways off. In order for this to make sense, we'd need some pretty high implied volatility with no news coming out, which is sort of a rarity. Maybe a situation where the stock is in a channel and the upper part of that channel, the resistance is far below this resistance level. Yeah, like I said, most of the time I would choose to stay away from it. I hope that helps. This is Dan Passarelli, Trade Smart.